So here we are,
Yeah,
just chilling.
here we are.
Mr. Barton Lynch. When last were you in Durban? I mean, that must have been 89, 90, eh?
No, 90, I don't know. I finished the tour in 97. So my last year on tour was 97, so that would most probably be the last time I was in Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there in a long time.
Long overdue a visit, Mr. Lynch.
Yeah, no, well, actually, no, that's not true. I went to J Bay and commentated for WSL.
Yeah.
One of those last J Bay events, yeah. That was fun. It was great to go back to J Bay. Wow.
Yeah, it must have been. Because those were the days. I mean, I remember Oki dancing on tables down at Magoo's and Joe Cool's and Brad Gerlach, having a load of fun, and surfing was certainly, it was a different landscape back then, right?
Yeah, it was definitely the world was a funner place, mate. It was a lot.
Less nutritionalists and physiotherapists and more just like
more surfing.
more surfing and personalities.
Yeah, it was a different time. It was really a different time. And I mean, even if I always compare it to tennis, I like to look at tennis and go, well, the era of Jimmy Connors, John McEnroe, Boris Becker,
Yep.
that period of time in tennis was the golden years of tennis, Ivan Lendl. And there were just these really wild cast of characters. And then tennis just became so sterilised to the point where you hardly know a tennis character,
Yep. Cookie cutter.
Yeah, the cookie cutter, just popping out people that are socially acceptable.
Mm.
Well, or moulding behaviour so that it's socially acceptable
Yeah.
by the norms.
And yourself, you've carved yourself out a little slice of paradise here, just living a quiet, peaceful life, loving it.
Pretty
Just got out the surf.
Yeah, just got out of the surf, had a little surf at Sunset Point with my boy, and we bought this house in 1989, so we've had it a long time, 35 years, this coming up. And when COVID, looked like we would always do the endless winter and do 6 months here and then 6 months in Australia and New Zealand and bounce between the two during the endless winter. And when COVID happened, it looked like we were going to get stuck somewhere. We figured that this would be a good place to get stuck.
Not a bad option.
So we did that. We got stuck, didn't we, Bub?
Yeah.
And?
Stoked.
Good move?
Pretty much.
Yeah, so it worked. At that time, my wife was sick of travelling and
Yeah.
moving around. We'd been doing a lot of travelling as well. So she was looking to slow things down anyway, and COVID did it. It
Brilliant.
was a good move for us.
Brilliant. I see you've been doing a little bit with the ISA and with Kote and the boys down there. You've been enjoying that?
Yeah, I love commentating. I mean, that's really, as far as work goes, that feels like, coaching's a natural thing for me as well, but the commentating's a real kind of unemotional job because you're not as a coach, you're invested in people's performances and it rides the highs and lows of their performances. But as a commentator, all of it's good. It doesn't matter who wins or who loses, and you just go in.
Surfing wins.
Yeah, and you just go in and talk about what you see. You know what I mean? It's not like there's really that much preparation really that goes into it. It's more just watching and knowing, and the preparation has been the last 45 years of your life.
Yeah, and I wish that we could tap into more of that, because I know it's a cliche, but these big, strong trees with beautiful flowers have big, strong roots.
Yeah.
And it's because of the roots that the trees are what they are, right?
Yeah.
So we've got to keep that conduit between our surfing elders
Yeah.
and the youth of today,
Yeah, I agree.
free flowing, right?
Yeah. In the pursuit of money
Yes.
and turning it into an income revenue stream for people, that is what happens. They have to fit in. And when you've got to fit in, or you think you have to fit in, you end up sterilising yourself for a free ride.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Socialism, it would seem, does the same thing. It sterilises the personality for a comfortable ride, but you don't have the opportunity to freedom and personal expression, and you're dumbed down into a,
And everyone,
a pathway, a passageway to a comfortable life, but it isn't always the best. Not the good stuff comes out of that type of living, really.
everyone becomes very sensitive
Oh, that's
overly sensitive, and you can't say anything without upsetting someone because, like you say, they've been sterilized. You know?
and you know, to that point, that made me realise that if you've got nothing to whinge about, the humans will whinge about nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you got nothing to whinge about, so you actually whinge about nothing.
Yeah.
And you know, where the garbage bin is placed.
Exactly.
In relation to the, you know, you go, wow, that's a big deal. You know, and you look around the world and you understand that people have got incredibly difficult lives and situations and circumstances that are just a real challenge. And the people who forget the value of the life they're living start complaining about nothing.
I think the benevolence of especially living in a Western world, of having everything get done for you and everything being so, we talk about that, the translation of that sort of way of living and ethos into the world of surfing and competitive surfing. It becomes so structured and so organized and so governed to the point where, like you say, the integrity, the personalities and just self-expression gets completely stripped out of each individual.
Yeah, and that's why we wanted to be surfers. We wanted to be surfers because we saw the individuality and personality and the character of the sport and the culture. And I didn't look at people with suits and ties and go, wow, I want to be an accountant. When I was a kid and I lived at Mossman, which was 7 miles from Manly, so I used to have to hitchhike every day. And every single morning, Monday to Friday, it was peak hour traffic when I was truanting school.
Yeah.
So I would see in the morning all of those people stuck in their cars with their suits and ties on in the traffic, going the opposite way to me when I was wagging school and heading to the beach. And I knew back then I was going the right way. And the last thing I wanted to ever do was get into that traffic with them and go that way, you know, and be a puppet in that world. And
yeah, a big fat metaphor right there.
Totally, every day from a young age, I went, wow, so if I'm going the opposite way to them, I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
What I care about is surfing and surfers being able to avoid having to put on the suit and tie and having an industry that you can work in.
Yes.
And then you can wear a board shorts and a t-shirt to work, and you can, you don't have to be as big a puppet as you would have had to have been in the real world, in the surf culture world. I suppose my concern becomes that all of the surf industry is such. If you go Quicksilver, Billabong, Rip Curl, Hurley, Ruka, Volcom, they've all been bought by major multinational corporations, and in essence, there is no surf industry anymore. We're at the beginning of a new surf industry, and apparently you're wearing one of them now, Vast. You've got Florence, you've got IPD, and you've got young, fresh surf brands emerging.
And you've got organisations like the New Earth Project that are associated with.
Yeah, and they I suppose that is the hope, is that there's a new surf industry that, the old surf industry did amazing things.
Incredible
when you think of, those companies that we mentioned, particularly, Rip Curl, Quicksilver, Billabong, the kind of starting the thing. Piping Hot was there as well. Yeah. But, and then that thing, and then before then, what did we have? You had OP, Caton, Hang 10, Lightning Bolt. Instinct was with that. Instinct was kind of, I suppose,
Gotcha.
With the Quicksilver, and Gotcha and Instinct. So there's those companies that have helped laid the foundation, but as there's been a selling point where they've all been sold by their independent ownership, and they end up in department stores and mass volume, and they make that rich person money before they burn out and die. And, I would think that Quicksilver, those original industry, those brands are on that path now.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to, as products of multinational corporations, they're not going to put in more than they need to.
No.
They're going to put in as less than they need to, and until it hurts the bottom line, and then they go, okay, maybe we need to put a little more in. But it was worth a try, see if we can get away with it.
Yeah, it's the spreadsheet. Yeah. It's the bean counting that ultimately drives and motivates it.
So that really, to me, is that point where we as surfers need to support surfing companies that are the new surf industry. Independents, people who will have a passionate emotional affection to the sport and to the culture, and do. That's why they built the brand. That's why they started the thing. So I feel like that's a really interesting point to get to, you know.
And the money that gets made can go to help so many non-profit organizations that are in some way, again, doing good in the ocean space, whether it's teaching young kids from townships how to surf, get them out of broken homes, get them through school. I know hundreds of them in Africa, right? Or it might be something to do with sustainability or beach and ocean cleanups.
Yeah, and that's where these guys, the New Earth Project, sort of came in, and where their idea was the West Carter who owns that. A New Earth Project is an initiative of Atlantic Packaging. And Atlantic Packaging is the largest privately owned packaging company in North America. And West Carter, whose family business it is, realised one day as a father and a conscious being that he was the problem. He was creating all the packaging, and then realised that maybe I can fix this. Maybe we can change the supply chain, create sustainability in the supply chain and in the packaging, and that became his mission.
Wow.
He started a New Earth Project, and the idea became the use of action sports to make sustainability cool. And if he could come into surfing and make sustainability a cool thing in surfing, and they would they have reshaped the packaging of the surfboards, those styrofoam, completely curbside, recyclable, compostable, and so that's what the program started as. And then they went into snowboarding, and now they're in, it's action sports and adventure, and that if they can transform that industry and make it cool there, then they've already had calls from Coca-Colas and that going, hey, what's going on here? This is interesting, So there's a lot of good going on, but there's just not many good news shows, and they're all bad news shows that just want to spread fear and keep the continual manipulation of the masses that has been going on for forever.
Yeah. They want to keep that going.
They want to keep that going.
They're running out of time because we're living in a world where you can see it a mile away.
Well, and for one, you can see it a mile away. The conscious uprising in the face of, I suppose you imagine that you have been and are controlled in many ways by industry, in what you get to choose to consume. But at a point when you get told too much, people tend to go the other way.
Yeah,
and they
that's
find
true.
themselves. And when you look out into the world of all the, what would you call that, respected media sources, and they have all destroyed their credibility, you might want to be a little quiet. Is that all right, that thing that's somewhere? Yeah, good. Good, mate. Sorry.
All good, bro.
So when you live in a world where everyone, you're being told what to do, your natural response is to not want to be told
Kick
what
back.
to do and do what you want. And then with all the media sources have lost their credibility and you can't trust anything out there, the natural place for you to go is inside for your answers. And so as a byproduct of them losing credibility through their actions and their behaviour, I've been watching and closely involved with the media, call it from 15 years of age when I did my first interview. At 61, I've been watching it involved with the media on both sides, all sides of the camera, and I've been watching their behaviour and I have no respect whatsoever. I used to watch surfing magazines get dictated to and the covers and the stories be advertorials.
Manipulated.
Advertorials, not editorial. And that credibility is long gone. And when you've shot yourself in the foot as the media has, you naturally, as a byproduct of you doing that, send them into themselves for their answers. And that there could be the start of the Great Awakening and a rise in international consciousness as people turn to themselves for answers because the sources there they were turning to, they've realised the bullshit.
Yeah.
So, there's so much good stuff going on in the world. There's such an elevation in consciousness. there's an elevation in understanding and awareness and respect for the intelligence that we live around and with, in terms of animals and plants and all the other living organisms of our planet. I feel like they're most probably more respected than they've ever been.
True.
And there's people working in spaces to change our behaviours for the betterment of the planet. So while they try to scare us into believing that the world might have 10 years to live, I really honestly believe it's going to be here forever. It's just here. It's going to change every single day, every hour, every moment. And to sit on a spot of certainty because of your scientific research, it only takes one little pillar of that research to be wrong and the whole thing caves in. And you go, well, we thought we were right about it. We thought it was the fats. Yeah. Now it might be the sugar. Oh, don't tell them that yet.
Yeah. Barton, I'm with you 100% on what you just said there. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that tree. It's perfect. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that grass. It's perfect. Or that dolphin or whatever. The earth, you can't better it. Man can't even clone it. So the earth will continue, as you say, forever. It'll regenerate.
In a corporatized world, you may become a bad apple because the corporations have given you no choice but to consume or to buy your thing in plastic, whatever it might be. You've been driven to that point. So I don't see us as the problem either. I see us as the solution, and the corporate behaviour and that lack of humanisation that exists at that level to be our problem. And I don't see that as true. We will overcome that as well. I'm confident of that too.
Yeah, the future's bright. The future's bright because of a conscious awakening.
That's right. Of people turning within to themselves for their answers, finding that they actually know more than they thought they did, so that they might have been bullshitted too about this and that. I mean, I figured that out when I was at school and they started painting in the history lessons the colonisation of Indigenous Australia as this wonderful thing, and you would go outside and see the opposite and think, I don't know if that story's right. That story sounds a little fabricated to suit the people who were telling the story. And then you reflect on history, and we know that history is written by those that win, not those that lose. Sure. And at this point, so you can't trust history. I don't have any respect for the historical record of the way things have been told to us and the way it's painted. So there's a lot that you learn, isn't there, as you grow. And it's not, to me, it's not a dark shadow. I mean, the dark shadow, I suppose, would be the epidemic of people not finding value in their existence and taking their own lives. That to me is just such that disillusionment and that lack of ability to see the beauty and the opportunity that exists to breathe and to be and to live that to me is a really disturbing situation, and it would suggest that something's happened. I don't remember that being a thing when I was a kid.
Yeah, no, I didn't either.
When I was a kid, it wasn't, especially in other kids. Things like that. So there's been a deliberate manipulation of the concepts put into our head, perhaps a deliberate toxification of our environment. And if it wasn't deliberate, it was completely ignorant and stupid because we're poisoning ourselves through the food that we eat, through the things and the way that we live. Then there's the whole weather engineering and all that other side of things.
And cloud seeding and all that.
They're spraying into environments of which we live.
I've never seen California so grey.
I heard it's just June.
It's like cloud seeding, they reckon, where they get it to cloud over. They reckon 10 years ago it would burn off around lunchtime, but now it's just grey all day.
Well, when I remember first going there and go, wow, this is gloomy in the water, man, and by 11, burn off. You realise there's a lot of dishonesty out there in the world we live in. There's a lot of people lying for a buck. There's a lot of people hiding what they do and how they behave. And I suppose now there is if you call it a second generation of sexual liberation, perhaps, we're back in, when I was a kid in the 60s, was like that first, free love hippie generation. I grew up with that around me and watched that. And now there has been an extension of that into other people's stuff and what all the different ways people like to engage sexually, emotionally with other people. And then that's sort of, we're in a second phase of that kind of liberation, And I think, good on you, do whatever you want to do, make yourself happy. I feel like that's the obligation, is to make yourself happy. And if everybody was able to spend their focus making themselves happy, and even if you're making you become happy by helping others, and there's people that sincerely do that, and I get gratification and a lovely warm feel inside when you do nice things for people, so you understand that. But there needs to be a certain amount of self-centeredness that gives your being purpose and value.
Yeah, you've got to pay attention to your mental and emotional state and
value it.
Give it time.
Give it time, give it purpose, give it its place. And to me, its place is at the top. You for you, or you for you, and look after you and making you happy and bring that happiness and joy into the community, into the world.
But then also treat others the way in which you want to be treated.
That's a premise of respect that has to be, doesn't it? Yeah. Absolutely. And if you can do that, walk that fine line of being respectful for others, caring, but also nurturing of your own ambitions and self and health, then you're doing some good stuff for a lot of people, maybe. So it's
amazing.
It's a complex world.
We could probably sit here for days chatting about this.
The judgment of others, we even shrink down and have our vibrancy dulled by their judgment. Don't do that, peoples.
No.
You know what I mean? The judgment of others is not, that's their problem.
Yeah, true.
And learning not to judge and respect and regardless, and that happens, that's, on the both sides of black and white and going straight and this and that, right? On both sides of all of that stuff, the respect has to happen. The respect isn't a one-way thing where because you're a certain colour you get respect and because you're a certain colour you don't.
Yeah.
That cannot succeed. That's an impossibility.
As I said, we could probably sit here for hours and hours, but I think at the end of the day, it's just about good vibes, and I think you're living it right here. Slightly off topic, but who do you miss surfing against the most?
That's a great question. Who do I miss in a heat?
Like top two. It doesn't have to be one.
It could be.
I mean that whole Tommy Carroll, Damien Hard. I mean that was rivalry right there. Potts.
We were fierce rivals, mate.
I mean, you were watching. He's on this board, and I'll fly across the planet to California to get the same board if that's what it takes, right?
And when at that Newcastle event when I was getting stalked by Tom and Martin's manager, they didn't know this is going on. I ring my manager, tells it I'm just off. He's like, "What's up, mate?" I go, "I'm just getting fucking terrorised by that idiot. He keeps ringing the room, knocking on the door.
That's so weird.
Challenging me to come downstairs and fight him, and I go downstairs. There's no one in the foyer, mate. And he goes up, hangs up, jumps in the car, drives to Newcastle, goes straight to. I don't even see my manager. I've been doing commentary to the Newcastle event as a surfer, but I'm also starting to do that stuff. And they come in and they feel the shoulder in a break. Oh, he's got to come something very heavy. Happened. And I think my mum's died. It's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah.
Mum's dead too. Okay, let's go deal with this. And we go out, and what's happened is my manager has driven to Newcastle, gone into the contest area, found Peter Manstead and dropped him. and we're getting fined. I'm getting fined for my manager knocking out. And Potts is looking at me like, what's going on? You know it. And he didn't know what was going on.
Wow. So he was being played as well.
Well, he left that guy in the end. Yeah. And, we all... Tom too, they all left him and they all grew to understand that it was a
toxic environment.
That we were all in the middle of, and he was stirring up the shit left, right and centre, saying people said this, saying people did that, saying this, saying that.
Bringing politics into surfing.
Yeah, exactly, and turning it into just a crazy rivalry that was most probably pretty cool in some ways and entertaining for people. I love surfing against Damien Hardman. It was like surfing against yourself because they knew kind of what you were thinking and how you were moving, and he was maybe better than me. I love surfing against cold, but we didn't really have that many heat.
Okay.
But Tom Carroll obviously was the one you, as a young goofy footer, you had to beat. Tom Carroll was the golden child. Tom Curran was the golden child. And Ockie was, those couple of years younger, ready to just beat all of us. And so, you'd have to, and Potts and I had fierce rivalries. So in the end, I love surfing heats is where I get to in my head. I love surfing heats. I love those moments of synchronicity and connection when you knew what they were thinking before they did. You knew what the ocean was going to do next. You had moments of what you could only term genius, really, where you were able to interpret all of that stimuli, all of that stuff that's going on and create success out of it.
Yeah.
In the midst of so much uncontrollability, you were able to find yourself and sit in it and go, I know what's happening next. He's going to paddle. Oh, look, here's he going. He just did that. And you knew he was going to do
It's a little game.
And you go, actually, what if I go this way? What would happen? Oh, he's coming. Okay, we got him. Cool. And it's just like going like that. Right?
Is that still plugged in there, mate?
Yeah, so that
Yeah, you missed that game of chess.
yeah, it was fantastic fun. That's just life, Then you go into other things and it's all the same stuff. It's all the same process. It's all the same commitment and the same purity that you try to find in it. And you just start doing something, you realise you're forcing it, and then you kind of work with yourself and work with the situation to find the flow, and you just start finding different lines through your life,
Yeah, it's just keeping up that flow state.
Yeah, and just being
Adaptation and what is the word I'm looking for? Being ready to pivot.
Oh, yeah.
And the only constant in life is change, right?
That's the only thing. And it's always going to change.
Yeah.
Everything. And we're always trying to find a place where everything's right. You
Exactly.
turn around, you rake the leaves up, and you turn around, there's more fucking leaves on the lawn. You know what I mean? My mate Jamie Mitchell is just around the corner. And I go over there, he's raking them leaves every day, mate. I like doing it because he's so OCD, mate. He's used to set squaring and getting things ready for a mission. He's always going on a mission.
It's all planned.
All planned, mate. So that's
That's life.
it is.
To certain people it is. But to others, I mean, so what if... No, but I'm talking about so what if there's a few leaves on the lawn,
Yeah, I was going to tell you, children will help you surrender that, won't they?
That's it.
As a set square, I used to always walk around and just, it's just right. Okay, just keep that square too. And my mum tells the story of me being a little kid, and in the play pen with a bunch of little golden books, and I used to spend my time set squaring the books, making sure they were all neat and perfect. My mum says, I used to think you were the gay ones, just the way how neat now.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. Because see, I've got my youngest brother's. My youngest brother's gay, and it's always
And then you have kids, and then it changes all that. And it goes out the window.
That goes out the window because you can't control anything.
Nah,
But
very cool.
but for your gratefulness in the moment, right? And that's
Exactly.
And
And I'm grateful for this moment because it's been a long time coming. And if there's one man I was hell-bent to make sure I got to see in Hawaii as my first time in Hawaii.
how is that your first?
My very first time,
Yep.
because as a young South African dude growing up from a country that, is not known for its economic prowess,
Yeah.
putting that VHS tape of North Shore into the machine 500 times and wanting to be Rick Kane and come to the North Shore and to finally get you is quite something. But to be able to sit down with a humble man like yourself who's willing to just, very kindly give me an insight into actually how to live life, you don't rest on your laurels.
No, mate. No, that's another life ago. I don't even feel like the same guy that won that. Besides, having a child makes you, when we go places together and people go, we're going to shave ice, just say, we just got off the plane from Perth, I'm from Western Australia, can we take a photo? And well, I was like, why do people want to take photos with you that? I think it's the way I surf, mate. I suppose that's it, because you're a surfer. And so then you realise that it has more of an impact than you may recognise in your not wanting to be that, not wanting to live off those laurels, not wanting
But you've always been pretty straight down the line, dude. You've always been a spade's a spade, and I think that supersedes you and you've continued that throughout your life. And I think that was also part of why people are so drawn to you as a character.
I appreciate that too. My dad would appreciate that. He, he called a spade too, mate.
Yeah.
That was the world I grew up in. My dad was sure of himself. He ended up dying in a motorbike accident, so, I learned easily that you can be sure of yourself, but we can take you
go
out
tomorrow, yeah.
too, mate. So that's where I think, that's where my gratefulness comes from. I was, 10, turning 11 the year he died, and when my daughter Tamron, who's 29, when she was turning 10, 11, I was 40, 41, my dad's age. So just coincidentally, our years were lined up exactly the same as mine and my dad's. And I was like, I just got to get past this year and I'll be on gravy. We're going to get past this one, where my dad got to with me. And now, she's 29, my daughter now. So that's, it's been 18 years of gravy.
Long time.
Of good stuff, mate.
Amazing.
And
Amazing.
Continuing to try and,
So your mom brought you up, basically.
I brought myself up. When they said you're the man of the house now, your dad passed away last night. I woke up, I was in bed, and I heard Mum's tears. And I went, oh shit.
I mean,
Something bad's happened. And I didn't get out of bed. I was too scared to get out of bed. I just rolled over and just hoped that when I woke up it might be different. That was a dream or, And my godfather came and got me and said, we were overlooking the ocean, and we lived at a lovely spot between Palm Beach and Whale Beach on the northern beaches of Sydney, and we're laying on the veranda looking out at the sea, and he says, yeah, you're the man of the house now. And it's like, holy shit, I don't know what that means. Is there anything you want to do, anything I can do for you? I said, I want to go surfing. I want to go for a surf. He took me down to Kitty's Corner at Palm Beach, and I did. That was, surfing was there for me then. That's why I've always been so grateful for it. And I feel like even with my son and my daughter, I feel like if they surf, they'll be okay. It's probably a ridiculous concept as we watch the geckos just climb all over everything. But that's the way I feel like it's. I feel like it's a saviour for me too. It's a saviour for everyone. When you surf, that's your place in the world pretty quickly. You ain't the boss no more.
No, you get taught a few lessons.
You get taught lessons of life instantly, and they're so applicable from there to here. The transference of ideas and behaviour and stuff is just spot on. So
amazing.
I appreciate it, mate.
Thank you. My dad also, my mom had to pretty much, it was just me and her,
Oh, yeah,
she was, as a 60-year-old disabled woman, she had to go back to work because my dad up and left, and I was a teenager as well, like 11, 12, and it was just like,
as you late.
They had me late. I've got 3 brothers, but they were all sort of, they're all in their like 60s now, my brothers. Right. So there was a big distance, and then my mom had to go back to work, and we lived in like the projects, and so it wasn't easy either. So I know the feeling of not having it pops around,
Yeah. It's like you'd think. Even my mum, she was busy. She only ever went to one contest in her life. She never went to the contest, never came to the contest, never. That was kind of my saviour. I just kind of went, I pivoted out to the surfing world as a 12-year-old and went, this is going to save my life, mate. This is how I can be the man of the house. As if my mum never has to think about me a day in her life, and she can put her energy into my brothers, then maybe that's the best I can do.
How many times did you say to yourself in a contest moment, or just like when you were at the height of your career, this one's for you, Dad?
Yeah, most probably not very often, I never lived with it too top of mind.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It was one of those ones where you just did, but inside maybe every move forever, you know what I mean, has that motivation. Consciously and on the surface of just living, I never really used it as a motivator or anything like that. But I remember there was a day when we moved we moved away from where I lived at Whale Beach a year after Dad died, and we moved to Mossman. And which was devastating to me because it was from the beach. I'd already made up my mind that it was going to save me, and we moved from the beach inland.
Oh, no.
And that's when I didn't surf for 6 months or whatever. And then at school, I went to high school and I saw some kids that looked like they surfed. And I didn't know, when I walked into school that day, I didn't know a single human, not one. And started high school. And I saw kids that looked like they surfed, and I built the courage to go, hey, do you surf? They go, yeah, I go, why do too? Where are we?
Part of the same tribe.
Yeah, where's the beach then? We go down on Tuesdays after sport. Mum takes me. It's like, can I come? I can surf. Can I come? They said, sure. So I went with them. And then I realised that I can hitchhike there. So I got in and out of 4 strangers' cars a day. Mossman, Manly, Mossman before school. Mossman, Manly, Mossman after school. Every day of my life. And then weekends, just 2 strangers' cars a day, you know?
Amazing.
And so
Yeah, you made it happen.
that's where I made it happen, mate. And there were people, there weren't really too many people to go, you'll do this, you'll succeed. People laugh at you. They go, as if you're going to fucking do that, you muppet.
Yeah, you had to do it. You were the man of the house.
And, well, I had to do it because I had to eat. And I wasn't going to mum. I'd never been to my mum since my dad died for money. So 12, 13, 14, 15 year old, I was getting creative on ways of not having to go to my mum for money. So, you know, I mean, in a lot of ways, it was it's been a journey.
Yeah.
An incredible journey. The whole thing.
And
There's a lot of people don't know and don't understand about your journey, and when they jump up and criticise you for this or that, you go, dude, you don't even know me.
Yeah.
You're just, you're kind of ready to jump on someone because you want to.
You just know where you are, though. You're here.
Yeah, and that's where
You've manifested this.
And when I was young, people used to go, you know what we're talking about. You know what we're talking about. And I'd be like, oh, yeah. And I didn't have a clue what they were talking about, but they thought I did. So I'd just go with it, you know.
Barton,
You go in there, my little boy. Come say hello.
it's been an absolute pleasure.
Bye, pleasure.
Thank you, brother.
Steve, I'm glad you made it happen.